Friends, welcome back. If you are new to Substack, welcome and thank you for joining. Also, if you're new, we have a chat room, which is pretty cool. And it's not locked down. You're welcome to, as long as you're respectful in there, you're welcome to bring whatever research and ask whatever questions you want, all out of respect. And there's a lot of amazing people in there that'll help you out. So it's a good place to learn and see things. All right, let's get started. So remember, one of the things I've been strongly suggesting is their news is very misleading. And not only is it misleading, they're going to go in circles with you politically, and that's exactly what they've done. A while back, they were saying that Maliki's in. Then they were saying he's out. They were saying Sudan's got this. Now they're saying just a couple days ago, I think it was like 2 days ago, that Maliki's the top pick. Okay. Well, now for the second time around, news is coming out suggesting that Maliki's out. And they said they were going to have a session of parliament this morning to vote and complete the president. And then they said it, as of this morning, it got rescheduled to next Sunday. Welcome to Iraq's news. So again, that's what I'm saying, guys. Right now, it's not, you're going to stress yourself out. You're going to be on an emotional roller coaster. It's not a good thing to just believe all this news coming out right now. As you see, it's all over the place. It's very misleading and confusing. What you're better off doing in this is, like right now, we know that their next tentative session of parliament to complete the president would be next Sunday. As far as a prime minister goes, I wouldn't sit here and be on this bandwagon. At the end of the day, it does make the most sense for Soudani to get that, because Soudani would be the right person because of what he's accomplished and how respected he is around the world by top officials. It would make sense for Soudani to get the premiership or prime minister position to walk Iraq out and bring them back to the world stage. He's the right guy for that, not Nouri al-Maliki, who's corrupt as hell. If Nouri al-Maliki got the PM premiership, it would throw red flags to the world. They would probably lose out on a lot of foreign investment and so forth, okay? It would not be a good thing. Now, but I want you to think about something in that. Why would they even put out, if let's say Soudani's going to get this, again, this is just an example. Let's say Soudani's got this. Why would they even want to put out all this misleading news? Very simple. It's pissing everybody off. It's confusing everybody. And it's a huge discouragement. They don't want people in this. So again, there is a possibility that Maliki's not going to get this, but they used it as a distraction to mislead, confuse, and discourage from people from even wanting to be in this investment. Okay. And so you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's happening, too. Again, a distraction. Think about that. That's why I did the video yesterday. I strongly recommended for everybody to keep their emotions out of this, okay? Let's look at the first article here. The Kurdistan Democratic Party is ready to give up its positions in Baghdad in exchange for the presidency. Guys, these type of articles I don't care about. They do nothing for us, okay? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who the president even is. It has nothing to do with our rate change. At the end of the day, we just need it done. The big thing we care about is who the PM will be, and is the PM announced when they complete the president, possibly next Sunday. That's what we're looking to see in this right now. Okay. Finance addresses state departments reducing delegation by 90% and reducing automobile by 50%. One of the things that they're trying to do is reduce their overhead expenses. Okay, that's really what this is even about. All right, not a big concern. Again, they're just trying to reduce their deficit and reduce their overhead expenses. Iraq dinar plummets against dollar as citizens rush to exchange, again because the parallel dollar keeps going up and up and up. Let's see if this even shows where the parallel dollar's at right now. It's basically saying it's a, well, hold on. The exchange rate for 100 is rising up to 157,000 dinars per $100. So they're saying it's actually approaching around 160,000 dinars. So it's gone up significantly, and that's raising their inflation at the end of the day. Okay, that's the reason they can't let this drag out too long. Otherwise inflation's going to raise, and they worked really hard to get it down. But because they're opening and launching trade and they use the dollar for trade, that's the reason why the parallel dollar is spiking. Let's see here. Let's look at this customs article right here. Economists, the expansion of customs and exemptions puts pressure on state revenues. Let's see what's in this article right here. Customs exemptions are a double-edged sword. They can attract investment, reduce project costs, speed up development, but when expended without strict controls, they erode state revenues, enable abuse, and open doors to corruption. Okay. And all that's listed in there. You can check it out if you're on our Substack forum. Private Sector Development Council holds a meeting to discuss the approval of the updated private sector strategy and its implementation mechanism. So in this article, it says the Private Sector Development Council was held at the headquarters of the Ministry of Planning today, Monday, the first day of the current year of 2026, headed by the second Vice President, and in the presence of the Secretary General, Mr. Mohammed Sadiq Al-Har, and the Director General of the Department of Economic Financial Policies in the Ministry of Planning. So it says the meeting witnessed a discussion of the approval of updated private sector strategy. So, okay, during his meeting with the Kuwaiti ambassador, Al-Arahi stresses the importance of strengthening joint cooperation to restore calm and stability within the region again. So yeah, Iraq and Kuwait are going to start working a lot more together. And they discuss ways to develop bilateral relations and enhance joint cooperation. Notice how since the U.S. troops started their withdrawal process back in mid-September, all of this bilateral relations and that phrase has been used widely a lot more. Okay, that's because Iraq's going international. And they're a sovereign state, so they can expand trade, which is what bilateral relations is. Mark Savaya, we are working to form an Iraqi government without militias, okay? And we have a database of corrupt officials. They're basically saying, again, now, here's what you guys got to realize. Some people are like, oh my gosh, Iraq's corrupt. No, they're not. You got to be careful. You can't just read articles. You have to look at what's going on. Just days ago, the UN put out news declaring how secure Iraq is. I mean, that was really what the article was about overall, was how extremely secure Iraq is. Plus, at the end of 2026, both the UN and the U.S. exited and withdrew from the country of Iraq, declaring them a sovereign state. Okay? Both the UN and U.S. would not exit and vacate out of Iraq after 22 years just to throw them back to the wolves and let them go south. Okay, we've worked too hard, invested too much U.S. money and taxpayer dollars, okay, to not reap the benefits and make sure that Iraq is going to maintain a stable nation. That's what this is, okay? Plus, they told us, I think it was 2 weekends ago, that Savaya would be working with the U.S. Treasury regarding OFAC. Again, and they can't tell you there's no way they could tell you they're about to lift the OFAC sanctions off of Iraq. They have to do it secretly. That's what this is. It's kind of a cover. What they're saying is, oh, we're going to audit and review Iraq just to make sure there's no corruption. No, the reason they're auditing them is to make sure that they're compliant so they can lift the OFAC sanctions because Iraq's about to go international after they form the government. That's what's going on. Again, but they can't just blatantly say, oh, we're going to lift the OFAC sanctions so Iraq can go international. They'd be blatantly telling you that Iraq's about to revalue, and they cannot do that. They're not going to do that, okay? Next article. The dollar will continue to rise, and this is the stopping point everyone is waiting for. Again, it's going to rise until the rate changes now because, again, they're expanding trade. U.S. Treasury warns of suspicious deposits. Again, we need to be cautious with some of this. Really, again, this has to do more with auditing Iraq to get the OFAC sanctions removed so that Iraq is eligible to go international and they're no longer under any sanctions at all. All right. The Iraqi Ministry of Finance terminates the reciprocal obligations of the 3-year budget. What the heck does this mean? Ministry of Finance budget settlement. The Iraqi Ministry of Finance has taken formal steps to terminate mutual financial obligations under the tripartite federal budget law. A high-level meeting chaired by the finance minister brought together with the Federal Finance Control Bureau, Accounting Department, Ministries of Oil and Electricity, budget departments. Outcomes of the meeting finalization of outstanding accounting settlements between ministries, resolution of joint financial files, already approved, termination of mutual financial obligations under the 23 to 25 federal budget law, reservation of required amounts to be addressed later, organization of oil company shares within budget schedules to ensure operational stability. Key decision. A special committee will complete the remaining settlement procedures in the 26 and beyond. Outstanding amounts related to foreign oil company licensing rounds were reviewed. Licensing round dates from 22 to 25 will be included in the next year's budget. Ensure accurate financial accounts, improve financial transparency, align with approved regulatory and accounting standards. Does this have anything to do with Iraq going international? Yes, this is foundational to it. Going international requires Iraq to operate like a normal auditable state in the eyes of the IMF, World Bank, international auditors, foreign investors, and oil companies, global financial institutions. So there you go. Key meetings are happening which lean towards going international because they're very close to doing that after they form the government and get the OFAC sanctions off, and along with increase the value of their currency, making it tradable when the sanctions come off. Okay, good stuff. Hold on here, just okay, let's get to okay, some of this news is strongly suggesting good old Nuriel Maliki's out, but again, that's why I told you guys this would be the second round of news. Again, they start off saying Maliki's in, then they said he's out, and Sudani's got this. Then again, 2 days ago, they came back saying Maliki's in, and he's the top pick. But now they're saying, Maliki's out. Here's why. This is a post right here on Truth Social from Donald J. Trump. Trump says, he goes, I'm hearing that the great country of Iraq might make a very bad choice by reinstalling Maliki as the prime minister. Last time Maliki was in power, the country descended into poverty and total chaos. That should not be allowed to happen again because of his insane policies and ideologies. If elected, the United States will no longer help Iraq, and if we are not there to help, Iraq has zero chance of success, prosperity, or freedom. Make Iraq great again. So Trump is straight up saying and posted right on Truth Social that if Maliki achieves the PM, the U.S. is completely out, and we will no longer help them, so they will fail. Okay. Now, here's an article I found on Reuters, and in fact, if you look right here, it mentions Reuters right there in the article. Okay, but again, this is from Reuters, not Iraq Middle Eastern News. So it has a lot of credibility, and it aligns with what Trump posted on Truth Social. Trump says the U.S. won't help Iraq if it picks Maliki as prime minister. So there you go. Okay. Hold on here, guys. I'm just seeing if there's anything important I want to share with you. Basically, again, they've rescheduled the presidential session of Parliament tentatively now to next Sunday is where it stands. We need to see if Sudani is even a consideration at that point, or yeah, I'm sorry, we need to see if a PM is even going to be announced, okay, to see approximately how much longer the government formation could take. For example, if it's not Sudani and it's just someone else, then he's got to form the entire cabinet from scratch. They're allocated 30 days to do that, okay? If it's Sudani, he has a fully functioning, completed, formed cabinet already. He might still replace a handful, just a few, up to a handful of people within his cabinet as well. So, I mean, it could take a few weeks. But it still leaves a possibility for the month of February at this point, too, okay? So, again, we've got to see what happens with the prime minister. Is it a different prime minister, or is it Sudani? That's critical to what we see on that, okay? To see how long or how much remaining time the government formation could take, whether it's going to take longer or could go a little bit shorter if Sudani grabs it, or if Sudani achieves the premiership because he already has a done, completed, formed cabinet, which again is they allocate 30 days of time for that. And that's the last final step for the government formation. Anyway, guys, just wanted you to be aware that Trump is basically saying if Maliki's the PM, The U.S. is out and will no longer help Iraq on any level. We're done with you. So that's why I keep saying right now, it is so, the news is so wishy-washy, it's so misleading, so confusing, and at the end of the day, Iraq doesn't want you to know what's going on, and that's why they do all this. But it does make the most sense for Soudani to keep the PM premiership, okay? That's what makes sense, especially with Iraq going back out on the world stage so that they don't throw red flags to the future of their investments with foreign investment, okay? Friends, you're the best. If you're new, again, welcome for joining. And if you guys would like to join, I'll put a link below the video on YouTube for this video. Thank you for joining. Have a great evening. Take care.